someone who's absolutely brilliant at looking for the person in the crowd is going to join me to help us unpack it a little bit and get some real practical tips on how we do that and how we approach Christmas season. So I wonder if you could put your hands together and welcome Hannah Nugent to the stage. You're going to have to keep it going. You all right?
Yes, how are you?
Yeah, I am good. A little bit sweaty up here,
Hi,
but
everyone.
it's okay. Hannah,
Yes.
before we dive into inviting, how did you end up at Life Central?
So when I had kids, I really wanted to find a church, and I was looking for 3 years to find a church. And then I work in restaurants, and we got a new head chef, and he was one of the most incredible people I've ever met. His passion for his job and just his day-to-day going about things was incredible, and he'd openly talk about his faith, and he invited me to Life Central. I didn't come straight away. It took me almost to get to quite a low place in my life. I suffered with a little bit of postnatal depression with my second daughter, and to the point where one Sunday I just said, I'm going to go and find Carl's church. I'm going to go find it, and that's what brought me here, and the rest is history.
So you're almost like that person in the crowd,
literally
yelling out, Jesus, I need you.
Yeah.
Wow.
100%. It took me so long. I couldn't believe, how long it took me to find it, but it was all part of God's plan.
We're more available on Google now.
Excellent.
Hannah, like you are incredible at inviting people. Like, what motivates you to invite people to church? How do you do it?
For me, Life Central Church has, and Jesus obviously, has enriched my life so much. I'm so thankful for it. So if I can give that gift to someone else, surely that's the best gift you could ever give anyone. So I just want to give it to everyone, really. What better gift can you give?
Does that ramp up at Christmas time for you?
Absolutely, yeah. So for me, inviting at Christmas is a safe option. I say safe like this because everyone loves Christmas. Like you were saying, people are more sentimental at Christmas. They're a little bit more open. Leon's not going to do a response where everyone has to come to the front. People aren't going to start talking in tongues. It's not going to scare them off. So I think at Christmas time is a great time to do it, especially if you haven't done it before. It's almost the easier option because everyone loves Christmas. And also all the Christmas events now, as a mum of 3, trying to find events, everything's so expensive. So to come here and the tickets are £2-3, something like, it's a real reasonable Christmas event that people can look forward to. So.
Brilliant. And a few weeks ago, Hannah, you were down there in the baptism tank, baptising Natalie.
Yeah.
Tell us that story.
Yeah, so I've known Natalie 17 years. She's one of my best friends. She, like she said in her testimony, she would have called herself an atheist. I'd always invite her, but she was very polite in declining and just always said, no, thank you, not my thing, which was fine. And then unfortunately last year, me and her went through a cancer diagnosis. So it took her to get to, again, a very low place in her life. And she just came one Sunday. I don't think I actually invited her near that time, but that seed had been planted and she knew about that I would come every week. So she texted me and said, I'm going to come to church with you this Sunday. And I was like, incredible, thinking she was just coming to support me, really. But she found it very, very emotional. She came back. She started sending me quotes from the Bible. She wrote me a card full of quotes, and I literally thought, oh, she's just doing that because she knows I like it. And then she started sharing her faith at work. She said to me that she thought God had put this person in front of her, and she said she really felt the Spirit prompt her to look after this person. And she said she couldn't believe when she was sharing her faith and everything she was going through, how actually everyone was really positive. She was really nervous the first time she did it. And I've worked where Natalie works, and it's not a particularly inviting place. So for her to do that there was just incredible. The transformation in her overnight, it seemed, was just unreal, amazing. And then to get to Dunker was just incredible. So, yeah, amazing.
And that's real fruit, isn't it? That the person you invited for so long and talked to, you got to baptize. And like, just hearing you say, like, I've been friends with her for 17 years. You know, like, I was like, there's people in my world who I've been inviting a long time, and they've never come. And I'm like, can I be bothered to go to the well again? And going, do you want to come to Christmas? But actually hearing that, I'm like, well, yeah, why wouldn't I? Just chuck out another text, throw out another invite. Like, I'm not great at it, Hannah, I'll be honest. Like, you seem to have a new person with you every single week who you've dragged along. Like, I get, are they going to think I'm weird? Like, do you get that? Do you get nervous about it?
Yeah.
Like, how do you combat it? What are some strategies you employ?
I actually find it easier to invite total strangers. I actually had a man from Dogs Trust come to the door today, and we got into a conversation, and I invited him. He wrote it down and everything.
That's
I was
so
like, this
good.
is perfect timing. Whereas my family, even my husband, I actually find it harder to invite him because I think I know what he's thinking, and I know that when I invite my sister-in-law or my brother, I know they don't want to come. And therefore, when I invite them, I almost feel like I'm pressuring them a little bit, or they come because they feel pressured. So I actually find it harder to invite people I know. But when people say no, God is working in that no, like 100%. Like, look, when Carl invited me, like I said no initially, but God was working through it. Like, every time someone says no, you're just planting that seed. They just need the right environment for that seed to blossom. And for me, that took me getting to rock bottom to blossom, you know? So don't be scared of the no, because you're planting that seed. And I remember you saying before, you know, do I send that text out again? But you're just nurturing the seed. You're just adding a bit more soil, or, you know. So he'll do something with it, you know? The seed is there, so...
It's really good. And I think what I was meant to say earlier is, like, God's at work before we invite. And, like, we keep reminding ourselves as a staff team, more and more people, when we're talking about being spiritually open, more and more people are spiritually open. And we're finding more and more people's stories are, I just felt like I needed to read the Bible, or I just felt like I needed to reach out to God. And so I Googled church and found it. And it's not just us that are finding that. Like, I speak to other church leaders. It's happening all over the country. And so, like, I think it's important to remember God's at work in our friends and family's life before we invite them to Christmas.
Yeah.
We've just got to find where that seed is and water it, and let God do the business. How's inviting people to church impacted you in your journey with Jesus?
It's everything. Like, I feel like I've just not spoke about my strategy, so I need to go back to that.
You do what you need to do, Hannah.
No, we'll come to your question first. For me, it's enabled me to dive deeper into God, because now that my mother-in-law, for example, started coming, my sister-in-law, they understand me a bit more. So before, I would always listen to UCB in the kitchen, you know, to have a nice atmosphere in the home. But when they would come over as non-Christians, I would turn it off, because I would think, oh, you know, they're going to think, what's this weird music? But now I've started inviting people, and people in my life understand it. They just know. So I can listen to UCB freely, and they, for example, won't organise a brunch on a Sunday morning because they know I go to church, and that's a no compromise thing. So it's allowed me to spend more time with Jesus and ultimately bring me closer to him. So, but yeah, back to the strategies. I'm sorry, I've completely thrown off the questions, because that's a really important thing. When you're in a conversation with someone, I have 3 strategies. Number 1 is, like, be joyous. No matter what you're going through. As I said, I'm going through cancer at the moment, but I just choose joy because it really makes you stand out, and that will bring a question of, why are you so happy? Like, I get that a lot on the chemo ward. Like, people say, why are you so happy? I don't get it. And I say, it's Jesus, it's the Spirit, you know? Give 110% to everything you do, because Carl, that's what made Carl stand out, my chef, you know, and it made me ask, you know, why are you going above and beyond? Why are you doing more than, you know, what you're getting paid to do? And he would say, I do it for Christ. I don't do it for anyone else. I don't do it for my employer. I do it for Christ, which then led me to say, where do you go to church? when you're not in a conversation, props are really good. I noticed Sam tonight's wearing a T-shirt with faith over fear. So get the clothes, get the Life Central pen, get the Life Central cup. I have a bright pink Bible, and it causes so much conversation.
Available, the 45th ones, if you want to buy them. £15.
There you go, plug that for you. But yeah, my bright pink Bible always causes a lot of conversation in the chemo ward, on the train, and then literally yesterday as well, I was looking over these questions that Andy was going to ask me tonight, and someone saw me writing and actually said, "Oh, what are you up to?" You know, at swimming lessons, and she told me how she was very open to faith. And I thought, I can't invite her like right now because I've just told her I'm doing a thing on inviting, and that's a bit weird, but I'll get to her. So, and then the last thing that has been the most incredible thing ever, and Luke on Sunday, the guy from Compassion, said, turn an incident or an issue into an invitation. That is what I've done with cancer. So for my birthday this year, my very good friend Laura, who might be here tonight, she gave me the idea. I put on social media, I said, look, everyone wants to do something, and everyone has been incredible, the support, and from this church as well, unbelievable, and thank you for that. But I said, if you'd like to do something, just come and sit with me at church one Sunday. I've had 37 new people come to this church this year because of that invitation, so if you're going through something, and I know everyone has, you know, everything's so different, and it's easy for me to say this, but it's worked for me, so give it a try.
Wow. I don't really know what to say, Hannah. I think it's so inspirational for us. I think who you are is like what God's doing in you through this crap. Do you know what I mean? And apologies for that word, but like, and just when Luke said that on Sunday, I immediately thought of you, because that's what you're doing. And I think, you know, I could say, well, if you're doing it, there's no excuse for any of us. But like how you're just responding to it, and how you're teaching us as a church and teaching us how to invite and how to respond, and this is just, it's Christ-like. And so thank you, Hannah. Why don't we put our hands together for Hannah? Thank you so much.